Today, we're going to be talking about when you want to quit on your goals. Now, the first thing that I want you to ask yourself is, am I going to quit wanting to have the goal? Because what can often happen is we quit and we take the actions, but we still have this desire. We still tell ourselves that we should be achieving this goal. We still want to achieve this goal. So, this is a good thing for you to check in and notice. Like, am I dropping the goal completely? Or am I just going to stop working toward it and I'm going to keep telling myself that I want to, that I should, that it would really be great if I could? Like, what will you be telling yourself if you quit taking action toward your goal? And then the next thing that I want you to look at is like, why do I want to quit? Because what you might find, especially if you're like, actually, I would still want to achieve that goal. I still have the desire to achieve that goal. Then maybe what you want to look at is like changing the way that you're going after the goal. Because oftentimes it's not that we want to give up on the actual goal, it's that we don't like the way that going after the goal either feels or the things that we think is required to achieve the goal. So if we're looking at the way that it feels to achieve our goal, check in like what are the feelings that come up and how can you start to look at the thoughts that are creating those feelings to change that or support yourself through those feelings that come up. Because going after your goal, like there are going to be some moments where there's negative emotion and it's harder than other times. So, how do you want to move through that versus I'm going to quit and I'm going to avoid all of these emotions? But if I quit, what emotions come up as well? Because what you might find is like it going after your goal, it might feel like fear, it might feel like disappointment, there might be some discomfort. But if you quit your goal, what negative emotions come up? It might be disappointment, there might be fear because now you're not going after it anymore. And so noticing how sometimes those emotions can be very similar to each other, like the process and if you quit. So noticing like you're not necessarily getting out of those emotions. So it can be like changing the way that you're feeling by changing the way that you're thinking or supporting yourself differently through the discomfort that comes up. And then the other thing to look at is like if you could achieve this goal any way that you wanted to, in a way that makes sense, like it would actually potentially work, but your brain's telling you not to do it that way, then it might be worth giving that plan a shot before actually just deciding to quit the goal. Because if you're going to quit anyway, then you might as well see if you can enjoy the process. Because oftentimes when we enjoy the process, it makes achieving our goals so much easier and we actually get there. And then the last thing I want to leave you with is if you do decide, like, you know what, I'm actually going to quit the goal, I'm going to move in a different direction. This is the thing that feels best for me, is to have your own back with that. Because oftentimes, what can also happen is we make the decision, we decide we're going to quit, and then we can judge ourselves like crazy for it. So, what you can do is actually just have your own back. Like when your brain tells you, hey, you should really do, oh, actually, I decided I didn't want to do that anymore. When your brain tells you, I can't believe you gave up, this is terrible, how could you do that? You should have just kept going. You're reminded, like, you are able to change your mind. You can change your goal and move to a different one. But again, it's checking in like, are you stopping like wanting the goal? Like you no longer want it because circumstances have changed. You learned something different. You went for it and you're like, oh, this isn't actually for me. Or are you quitting and still keeping that want? Because if you're deciding to quit going after a goal because it's really just not something you want anymore, then it's like reminding your brain of that each time it brings it up. It's actually, I just changed my mind. Like I can do that. And I feel really good about it. And so I'm going to have my own back with it. And if part of the reason that you're considering quitting is because of the process, like the process feels so uncomfortable, there's so many emotions, there's so many thoughts, it feels really, really hard. You keep starting and stopping, and it just feels like you're not making any traction. Then make sure you go to createcommitment.com to sign up for the waitlist for my course, How to Create Commitment. Because the thing that I love about commitment is that when you have it, it makes the journey so much easier. That starting and stopping and giving up. In the course, we're also going to talk about like the emotions that come up and how to support yourself through them and also how to change those things as well. So if you're wanting to work on improving that journey, the relationship with you, the relationship of the goal, the relationship to the process, then make sure you go to createcommitment.com so that you can sign up for the waitlist.